Greetings, chess friends. We are here with round number 3. Let's jump into the game playing International Master from the country of Cuba, a country with a great chess tradition, starting with, of course, Capablanca himself. They produce many, many strong players. My opponent, nearly Grandmaster, has all the norms, just needs the 2500 rating. And here we go. So I had actually seen he played quite a few games in this so-called wing gambit. So I was excited to test out this one, maybe against a lower-rated player. He throws a curveball like that, but he played a lot more solid. But I noticed in preparing for the game that he really played very aggressive chess. And this I find to be really exciting, but difficult, and I, again, got into time pressure. Maybe a little bit of a misjudgment here at bishop d6. I even play this type of position with white, and knowing that this type of game, let's say knight d7 or castles, knight d2 can be a really strong idea. Knight d2, and the idea just to quickly play e4. So the bishop on d6, when you do that, e4 is really a burden almost. And to put it quickly, I could have just played bishop e7. Didn't want to play c6 so naturally and allow this knight d2 idea, b6 instead. So this kind of sidestepping that, obviously the idea here, but I feel like I maybe have mixed things up a little bit. His moves all land very naturally. Usually the knight is already out on d7, and here, again, maybe a little bit close to a main line, but this doesn't feel quite right. So knight e5, and I just played d takes. I wasn't really sure what to do to take this knight, queen c7, queen e7, but I figured this is kind of an idea when the bishop is on g2 that you capture this pawn and try to keep it if you can. So obviously he can take back, but I wasn't too afraid of that. He played knight e4, a good move. You can tell the aggression. Bishop takes, and f5. Really preventing the capture on h7, of course, the first threat. But this also does create some weaknesses, but black is up a pawn. I was hoping for some kind of exchanging to an endgame we could hold or even win. I always have high hopes when I'm playing these strong players. Here, again, I don't have the timestamps here, but I was taking a ton of time on this exchange here, and queen c7, maybe knight d7, a little better. Rook d1, queen e7 or c7, look both kind of close. Rook c8, an option. So it's really interesting. White probably is slightly better, but black has an extra pawn and is keeping it. Now, again, my opponent really, b3 gets a question mark, but this move caused me a little bit of disruption. I was definitely thinking of the normal moves, bishop f4, maybe even pawn f4, and b3 I didn't really expect. Here, could have gone a little better. I captured this pawn in the center, kind of a habit of mine being a little greedy and trying to defend. Maybe also capturing on b3 and then on e5 was possible here, and queen f7. Queen f7. I don't recall looking at this line, but it feels close. Again, black is up a pawn. Remember, if we have an exchange here of queens, black is up a pawn. Obvious pressure here. The two bishops are good, but a pawn up gives us a lot of leeway. This pawn is also hanging. Black is doing okay. And that's what I was really hoping for, to grab enough material that we could give some back and survive. So typical strategy. Here is the real game. Nope. Here's the real game. Queen e5. Bishop a3. Again, playing the most active. And here is really where I started to slip or trip over my own 2 feet, because I could have held on here. I played the move rook f7, and I thought this was a good move. Again, obviously getting out of danger, but making use perhaps still keeping my king safe. Maybe bishop to b7 would be needed. But we could have actually played better there with c takes b, queen takes, and then rook e8. Rook e8, which makes plenty of sense, just supporting the pawn. Not sure, engine giving this really equal. This pawn on e2 is hanging. Remember, black is up actually 2 pawns at this moment. 2 pawns. So much to overcome, even though white is very active. So probably could have played better right in these moments. And similar to the game with Darda, I just took too much time and kind of walked my way into a bad position voluntarily. So not on purpose, but shooting myself in the foot, so to speak. So here we go. Bishop takes pawn, still a pawn ahead, rook d8, but really white played excellent here. This one gets a miss, but white is still better, giving just b takes c as the best move. But rook d6 was quite uncomfortable, obviously trying to double the rooks. And this one gets a blunder, bishop to b5. Kind of a shame because I did play a similar type move later on, using this bishop as a defender, but kind of went all in, grabbing material here. Queen e2. I knew I was losing this knight eventually, but I figured here we have 2 pawns now, and a move like bishop c4 or queen c4, and trying to just grab as much as we could. Really, the story of this game is the white pieces are just too active. Beautiful bishops, beautiful rooks. Look at all the white pieces, coordinated, defending and helping each other. Black is a bit uncoordinated, no real harmony. Pieces defending, pinned. This queen and bishop does help a little, bishop c4, but my opponent plays well here, queen c3. And again, queen a2. Really, black is going down, but I was hoping, again, we're 3 pawns up. Obviously, this knight is hanging now, but 3 pawns up, that we could really generate some sort of counterplay. Bishop takes. The problem is really that the black king is not safe either. And my opponent, again, being very aggressive, exploited this. Here, engine giving maybe queen e2, but rook, this wasn't too bad. He is threatening to actually capture on e4. Is a big threat here, and then rook taking the rook. So I saw this was in line, but I was really low on time here, and that just was too much to overcome in the whole tournament. Really a problem I need to work on. Rook d2, and a good move here. Queen b3, capture, capture, and then simply just taking. This leaves him, after a series of exchanges, really just a rook ahead. If we could somehow get these pawns rolling a little bit, I mean, it's just hard to imagine, but we desperately played on a little bit here. King f7. And yeah, here. Imagine we could just save these somehow, set up some sort of protection, but it really isn't meant to be. This one, and capture, capture. I resigned the position here. So down a rook, and we're just losing another pawn. So really an aggressive game, just 31 moves, but my strategy really did not pay off, basically, trying to grab the material and hold on tight. I find it's usually a good way to beat strong players, but more they have to sacrifice. It's not just going to be right out of the opening here, but he was willing. He was willing to kind of go into this, so I had some chances, but really didn't make the most of them. This felt like the worst game I played. Again, the review gave it not too shabby. 85.8 was my chess.com score, but it felt worse than that. I was really in time pressure, always defending, kind of mixed up the opening. I think bishop d6 was the start of the problems. And really, just one of those games where a player of my level, if you don't get off to a good start versus the IMGM players, you're really in trouble. If you're on your back foot, you're just not going to recover. Even from an equal position, it's going to be a tough battle because they're just stronger than you. So you absolutely have to get off to a good start. And in this game, I just didn't. Bishop should really be on e7 and playing knight bd7, but here just kind of mixing the systems up. The knight never gets developed, and my opponent's aggression really made the most of it. Pretty impressive, and a nice guy after the game as well. We chatted about this, some of the variations, but yeah, it really felt like when I was playing it the worst game of the tournament probably. So okay, so we have 1 out of 3 in the first third of the tournament. Still enjoying my time, very good meals, beautiful location, but still need to prove a little bit on the board. Good first round, good second round. This one wasn't too good. And we had, like I said in previous videos, quite a few disappointments, close calls in this tournament, and really just kind of got to me by the end. So stay tuned for the next one. This was round number 3, lost to International Masters. So we'll see you next time.